Well, welcome to the Leading Where It Matters podcast, the podcast for dads who lead. And not every leader is a dad, but all dads are called to lead. And if you want to be a father who leads well at work and at home, then this is the podcast for you. Now, today is one of my solo episodes that I call the Cheats Guide to Parenting, how not to be a completely useless dad. And today we are looking at attachment theory. That's right, attachment theory. What the heck is that? Well, it's something your partner knows about. If she's gone to a parenting class like what we run at Hapai Whānau, then we teach it there, and she would have learned all about attachment there. But it's probably something you've never heard about because we just don't talk to dads about it. But today I'm going to show you why attachment theory is really important, why it's really important for dads, why it's important for your mental health, for your partner's mental health, for your kids' mental health and well-being. Today I'm going to give you the cheats guide to attachment so that you can go home a better dad without having stepped into a parenting class. Sound good? Well, let's get into it. Well, the research shows that we're all born hardwired for attachment. Now, some say it's by evolution and some say it's by design. Hey, I'm a Christian guy, so yeah, I'm totally going to see the design in this. But whether you don't have to be a Christian to be listening to this podcast, and whether you see it as evolution or design or the universe or whatever it is, but all the researchers agree that we're all born hardwired with the need for attachment with other humans. All right. But what is attachment? Well, children form attachments to their main caregivers really early on in life. And obviously this can include their mother and their father. And these earlier attachments are as fundamental to life as breathing and eating. It's hard to believe as that is, but these attachments, these connections with other humans, these close attachments are as fundamental to life and growth and development as breathing and eating. Now, after these early attachments, after these sort of primary relationships are formed, children may form some secondary attachments with others that are close to them, like their grandmother or their grandfather or some other people in their world. But the research indicates that even though kids might have a lot of adults who love them, they will typically only have sort of 3 or 4 strong attachment relationships. Now, when these attachment relationships are healthy and secure, it really sets a child up for success. Children who are securely attached as infants develop stronger self-esteem and better self-reliance as they grow older. These children also tend to be more independent. They perform better in school and have better social relationships and experience less depression and anxiety. Gosh, doesn't that sound good? Man, makes me think back to my childhood and go, man, was I properly attached? How well did my parents actually do? My mum told me actually a couple of years back that she didn't breastfeed me, and it was her sort of way of saying, hey, maybe that explains a few things, and maybe it does. Certainly, there was a focus on breastfeeding because of the benefit it has in helping mums form attachment. But maybe it was because I was bullied as a school. Maybe that was a big part of my issues. I've certainly got a few issues, and I know that I can feel aloof and a distance from my parents. Gosh, but issues come in all shapes and sizes, don't they? And most of you men listening to this going, yeah, I got issues. And I don't know what your relationship is like with your parents. But today's episode is called The Cheats Guide to Parenting because it's all about helping us do this stuff better than our parents did it, no matter how messy our lives look now. I don't care what it looks like. I don't care how messy it is. Today's episode is about helping us do this stuff better. And the great news is that 90% of it seems to be about getting attachment theory sorted, that if we kind of understand attachment and we kind of let it sort of feed into it and speak into sort of the way we live, it'll sort out sort of 90% of the stuff in our lives. So here's the deal. First thing we need to know is kids need a secure attachment, right? Lock and load that. But the thing is, adults need it too. Now, the parenting classes don't teach that. They'll focus just on mums and just on babies needing attachment to mum. And they don't teach much about dads being in that picture, and they don't teach much about adults needing attachment. But it's very, very true. Us adults need attachment too. So hey, the parenting classes can put all sorts of pressure on mums to create a secure attachment. And so much so, and she can feel this herself anyway, but she will end up putting the kids first and putting herself and you last. And if she's putting herself last, and if she's putting you last, then she will certainly feel lonely and lost. And a lot of mums feel this. And hey, if she's feeling lonely and lost, then it's likely that you are feeling lonely and lost as well. So a big challenge in any home is to keep a secure attachment with your partner while you're trying to do family. Whilst mum is trying to look after baby, and maybe you are too. I'm not trying to be gender specific in how things look at your home, but whilst you're trying to do this infant stage, this baby stage well, it's really, really easy for people in the home to really start to feel lonely and lost. And that's a sign that there's a breakdown in the attachment between you and mum. Yeah, so here's what I want to say first. You put the kids first by putting her first. This is a crazy idea, but you would have heard it said, happy wife, happy life. And you might not be married. Maybe it's happy partner, happy. Well, it just doesn't work. There's no rhyme for that. So we say happy wife, happy life. And it's very, very true. If she's feeling secure, it helps to build security into the kids. So there's a question for you. Does your partner feel secure? Are you partnering with her in a way that makes her feel secure at the moment? Has she got a sense of feeling well attached to you? And so the questions there to ask yourself is, well, how much time are you making for her? How much attention are you giving her? Are you listening? Or perhaps are you hearing? Hearing and caring. I talk a lot about hearing and caring. Are you actually just hearing what she's saying and caring about what she wants to communicate with you? This is how we attach, men. This is how a woman feels attached to us, is when we are listening, when we're hearing and caring. But I also want to just speak to the women that are listening to this, because I know there's a few of you out there. What about your man? How well are you maintaining your attachment with him? What do you need to be doing to build security and confidence in your relationship? Hey, I have no doubt it's your man that needs to do probably most of the work. I know that us guys stuff this stuff up, that we don't listen, that we don't hear and care, and that we just are clueless so often. But it's worth me asking the question, what do you need to be doing? Is there something that you could be doing to improve the attachment with your partner? But men, back to you. A big part of attachment theory is closing the circle. This actually comes out of an organization called Circles of Security. And it's this simple idea that, when there's a rupture in a relationship, it needs to be repaired. And you see this with babies where, they're crying or they feel insecure, and so they cry, and there's a signal for a reattachment, and, the full circle is closed. And the idea extends to us, where when things go wrong, you need to make them right. Right, we all know that. And we close the circle when we've been harsh, we say sorry, and things are talked about, and then the relationship, people say they love each other, and that we talk about what went wrong, and the whole circle is closed. And so I want to ask you, men, have you said sorry? If there's been an argument, have you apologized? So someone has to apologize. And typically that person is the leader. And the leader in your home today is the one saying sorry. And this stuff applies to your relationship with your kids and your partner. So, kids need secure attachments. They need to know that you're there for them. Now, this doesn't mean mums and dads have to be complete slaves to their children, but it does put all sorts of pressure on mums. And I know mums feel this. And so, dads, you do need to be there for mum, especially with young kids. It's a crazy time. And the question for you is, how can you be doing that better today? Is she feeling that you're close enough, that you're understanding and that you're hearing and caring? But mums and dads, you need to give yourself some grace with this. You need to realize that you guys need a strong and healthy attachment too. That's very clear. The research on that stuff is clear. Even if you weren't taught it at your parenting class, that stuff is very, very true. So I want to ask you, how is your relationship? Are you listening to each other? Are you hearing each other today? Are you attaching physically often enough? Guys, preach it. You're saying, preach it, brother. I get it. Yeah. Are you attaching physically often enough? Are you connecting well enough emotionally today? Remember, men, happy wife, happy life, and a big part of providing a secure home for your child is having a mum and dad that love each other. And hey, man, if you don't live with the mother of your children, then you've got the added challenge of providing the security from a distance. Now, fathers, this father attachment in a child's life is very important. The parenting experts don't really teach it today. Probably because there's so many homes with dads not in them. When they come to a teaching attachment, they just don't know how to talk about the dad part of it, because often dads aren't in the picture. But all the parenting experts talk about the importance of infant attachments to mums, but dads having secure attachments with your kids is very important too. And I just want you to know that that might make you feel guilty. It might make you feel a little bit sting, but it also might be a huge relief where you go, yeah, I know, I want to be important. I want to be an important part of my kid's life. I think most of us feel this. We know we can be useless dads, but we don't want to be, and we still want to be involved in the kids' lives. We want to be important, and the thing I want you to hear is that you are. You really are. Kids thrive when a dad is present, and that's not necessarily about being in the same home. We know a lot of dads aren't present even if they live in the same home. Gosh, we all struggle with that. But the research shows that children who grow up without a consistent father involvement have all sorts of issues. They commit more crimes. They become teenage parents more frequently. They're often unemployed more often, and they're often and more involved in drugs and all sorts of stuff. When dads aren't consistently involved, there's all sorts of social problems that children are more likely to be exposed to. And so the challenge for separated dads is to stay involved and to look to maintain a healthy attachments with your children from a distance, to be present even though you're not present all the time. It's doable for most of you, but the challenge is knowing how to do it. And I'd love to have all the answers for that, but I don't. But I imagine it'll have a lot to do with not playing games, in the sense of, not trying to undermine their mother and not talking their mother down to your children. I imagine that's kind of part of the baseline of getting this right, because that just undermines security. I imagine a lot of it has to do with being reliable and fulfilling your commitments and making sure that you're just available when you say you're going to be available. I imagine that has a lot to do with making sure that your new relationships or relationship and your new home environment feel secure, that when your kids come and visit. I imagine that stuff's really, really important, and that you need to really think about that and look at your home environment and look at any new relationship you might have, and just think about that in terms of when your kids visit. Does that feel safe? Does it feel secure? So I imagine those are the baseline things that you need to get right. And then you also need to think about how you can become an emotionally and physically secure and present figure in your children's lives. So that's something to think about. But I guess what I want you to really think about with that is the research is clear, Dad. Your children do need a secure attachment with you. And you need this too. You need to realize that you need secure attachments too. If you are separated and you are feeling isolated, you do need to build some secure attachments in your life. And part of that might be attaching well to your children. So I want to say that no matter what has gone on, and no matter what you've done or not done, any effort today to closen your relationship with your family is really, really important. But I'm not doing this post. I want you to know I'm not doing this. I'm not communicating this to make you feel challenged or to make you feel stink, to make you feel guilty. I really just wanted to give you the cheats guide to attachment, to really talk about stuff that people aren't talking about, and to talk about it in a way that us dads can go, yeah, okay, attachment's important. Kids need it. They need it from mum. They need it from me. It's as simple as that. Whether you're separated or married, whether you're not married, but you're living with the mother of your children, you're in a de facto relationship and you consider yourself married, or whether you're separated, none of that stuff changes the facts. Attachment is important. And the keys to attachment theory, the cheats guide, is simply this. Love the mother of your kids if you're with her, and love your kids. Be there for them. Be present. If you're not present in their home, then find a way to be present. If you can't love the mother of your kids anymore, be present still. Never underestimate just how important your presence is in their lives, no matter the mess. And if there's a rupture in your relationship that needs to be repaired today, someone needs to repair it. Someone needs to say sorry. Someone needs to lead. And men, hey, what I would say, men, the leader in your home today is the one saying sorry. So whilst not everything can be fixed with a sorry, whilst not everything can be repaired with a sorry, saying sorry makes a lot of things better. It starts to heal a lot of things. And in terms of getting access to your children and building stronger attachments, it may be the starting point. So start there. Hey, that's the Cheats Guide to Attachment. And that's me for the day. I'm out of here. I look forward to seeing you next time. Well, thanks for listening to the Leading Where It Matters podcast, the podcast for dads who lead. It's been great having you here. I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. Don't forget, you can download Culture Maker, my free leader's guide for young dads. It's leadingwhereitmatters.com/culture maker. That's leadingwhereitmatters.com/culture maker. Thanks again for listening. I really appreciate you tuning in. A new episode will drop next Thursday, and I look forward to catching you then.